Okay, good evening. Hopefully I'm not too late. I normally am late. Timing is not a good thing for me. So, evening everybody. It's Friday the 11th of January 2019. Hopefully you can all hear me loud and clear. Maybe you can, I don't know. My screen hasn't updated yet, so who knows. Oh yeah, it has. Here we go. Right, okay, so we're live. What a day, what a night, what a week. So this week we've had CES 2019, which is what primarily this stream is going to be about. How disappointing has that been? For me, there was a lot of things that I didn't see, that I really wanted to see, and I'm actually really quite gutted about. We'll go into that a little bit more in a little bit. Now the reason I'm late is because I was trying to diagnose a problem for somebody. Someone's having a problem with a Fortnite installer, and I had the message. I will just get it up now. The error code in Fortnite, the installer, IS-FC05, which actually seems to be quite a long running problem for a lot of people trying to use Fortnite or installing Fortnite. And it looks like, from what I can see at the moment, it's a file corruption based sometimes on possibly wrong RAM settings, but we're going to look into that. Yeah, I'll definitely get back to them and help them out with an answer, hopefully. So, what do you think? I've got some new titles at the bottom of the screen, which hopefully, so you can all see it. So if you've got a question or a comment, you can email them to mike@mikesunboxing.com. And as you can see by the little logo down the bottom there, we are live. So anything can happen, and probably will, and I'll probably mess up a lot of things, but hey, you're probably all used to that by now. So let's say some quick hellos to whoever's in the chat, which for some reason I've just closed the chat window, like you do. So we've got Yaheen and Ninja House, and Glenn. Good evening, Glenn. And who else? Kath, probably. Hi, Kath. Hi. So, yeah, getting back to CES. I was... It's always the same. It's happened for quite a few of the recent product launches. We had the Nvidia RTX launch back in, what was that, August or September now, which we were kind of all waiting with bated breath, waiting for this fantastic new GPU from Nvidia. And actually, don't get me wrong, obviously it was slightly better than the 1080, but the RTX 2080, apart from the ray tracing and the dynamic super sampling, didn't really bring a great deal to the table. And now with AMD's keynote speech and them going through all the stuff that we really didn't want to hear, things like epic servers and all that kind of stuff, it's like, do we really care? That's not why we're here. Most of the people that are at CES 2019 are probably at least 50% for the games and for the gaming, for the GPUs and the CPUs. That's what we're all after. And it's actually been quite interesting watching the kind of the YouTube press and media, like your Linus Tech Tips, Hardware Unboxed, and other people that have been commenting and contributing to the whole CES thing. They've really been struggling to try and get anything new and fresh. I did see Corsair have got some new technology, the slipstream technology for wireless for mice and keyboards, which is going to be really good for low latency stuff. They've got the new LEDs as well, which will be coming out very shortly. I think they probably are in their infancy, but we've got to look forward to that. So some new LED lighting, like there isn't enough LED lighting on the market at the moment. But other than that, we didn't really get anything. Now, after last week's stream, when we went through talking about the 3000 Ryzens, the Ryzen 3 or Generation 2 or whatever you want to call it, I for one was massively disappointed. Now, they did show in the keynote the 8-core version of the Ryzen 3000. I don't think they actually went ahead and named the actual chip or gave any real technical details on it. All it was effectively, they were promoting it as being equivalent to the i9 900. I'm not sure if it was a K or not. And they really only showed it in comparison with, I think it was it Blend? No, not Blender, Cinebench. Now, Cinebench has always favoured pretty much AMD processors purely because of the core count. So that for me wasn't really like, wow, I need to start saving the pennies, that is what I want for my next upgrade. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, since the initial Ryzen launch and probably the RX 480 launch, like the first RX series, there hasn't been anything really to get excited about. It's all been those small incremental jumps in performance, which is kind of sad really. There's nothing really for us. Now, if there had been something really good that came out in the mid to high end, which would have made people want to go and get it, that would have been fantastic. And it would have made it better for people like me, possibly people like you, who are in the kind of the low to mid range, who are looking at upgrades or getting hold of cheap used parts. Because obviously when something new comes out, which is really, really good, people kind of just completely trash their old platform, put it on eBay, Facebook Marketplace, whatever it may be, local adverts, and that stuff generally goes down in price quite a lot, especially things like graphics cards. Different generations of CPUs are a little bit different because people do tend to hold on to those a little bit longer these days, I think. I don't know, maybe you should let us know in the comments. Do you keep hold of your platforms for longer? I know there's some of you that are still using the FX platform, which is totally commendable, and probably if it wasn't for this channel, I'd probably use an FX. Yeah, probably would still be on FX or an older, maybe a 2 series or 2nd gen Intel i7. So there's not been really anything great. There's been no real release dates, no hints, although Dr. Sue, is it? I've completely forgotten all the names. Dr. Sue came out with the news that the Ryzens should be releasing 2nd quarter. So that could mean anything up to the end of May, maybe beginning of June. So we've still got loads and loads of time to wait until something actually happens that makes us want to upgrade. So, not great for the CPU side of things. Definitely, I was waiting at the very end of that keynote for here it is, the Ryzen 3000, and boom, 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 listing all these different CPUs and APUs, but nothing. We did get to see a relatively close-up look of the new silicon, the new die, and the 14 nanometer I/O chip, and also the 7 nanometer chiplet, which goes with that. And I don't know about you, but you could totally see from how that chip was shown to us on the stage that there was enough room to put another one of those chiplets underneath the existing chiplet, maybe even squeeze on a 3rd one. So possibly even looking at a 24 core, 48 thread monster at some point. Now, they didn't really go into too much detail on the chiplets or the I/O chips themselves. I think that's been done pretty much in most of the media already from the information that we've had. But for me, I think the 16 core 32 thread is going to be something worth waiting for. But again, it all depends on price, and we've had no indication on pricing. Could be £1,000, could be £500, could be £250, we just don't know. And where there is doubt and where there's speculation, that is when things start going badly wrong. Because people are thinking, well, do I invest my money in this platform? Do I look elsewhere? Fortunately for AMD at the moment, looking at the Intel platform is essentially looking into the deep abyss. They've got nothing really on their roadmap apart from the mobile chips, which look like they will get some refreshes and some shrinkage on the dies. But other than that, Intel don't really have a great deal. They've released a couple of new i9s, or they're at least about to. The i9 3100 was it, or 8100 or 9100 or something. So basically it's some low-end parts with the iGPUs disabled, which essentially means that it's probably chips that have failed, they don't know what to do with them, so they're going to rebadge them as a new product, which is definitely what seems to happen. So that's the CPUs and APUs, basically nothing. We're still exactly where we were a week ago, no closer forward to having an official release date, clock speeds, TDPs, all that kind of stuff. We can speculate again like we did, but we don't know for sure. So let's talk about I nearly said Vega 7, but it's not Vega 7. It's definitely not Vega 7. Let's talk about the Radeon 7. So what are your opinions on the Radeon 7? For me, this seems like quite an odd inclusion in their roadmap. Now, some of it does hark back to one of their chip designers who has now left the company, and it was his kind of last, almost parting shot at the company. He was the kind of designer that didn't get involved with people. He clocked off at 5 o'clock, didn't do overtime. If by the end of the week he hadn't read his emails that he'd received that week, he would just be delete, 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 delete. Start on Monday morning, start afresh. Which is probably not the greatest way to do business. So he was kind of apathetic to the whole thing. He had a design in mind that he wanted to do that cost basically $750 to produce, and with the nearest competition retailing at about that price or less, there's nothing in it. So hopefully, fingers crossed, the Radeon 7 will be the last of that whole architecture, and we can look forward to the Navi, people pronounce it different, but I call it Navi. The Navi chips coming out, hopefully, towards the middle of the year. It would be really great to see Navi make an entrance at the same time as the new CPUs and APUs. So AMD will totally wipe the board and knock Intel off the spot completely. So let's have a look at the Radeon 7. So we get 60 cores, which I don't understand where the 60 comes from. Now, traditionally in computing, things double. So you went 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, etc., etc. You get the idea. So you'd have a 32-bit bus, 64-bit bus, 128-bit, etc. Okay, I'm harping on, but you get what I mean. So to come out with something with 60 cores seems like a really odd number, especially seeing that the Vega 64, now there's a clue in the title there, had 64 cores. So to actually take their existing design, shrink the die, make their improvements to the architecture, although very minimal, why remove 4 cores? I don't think anyone's actually asked that question yet, but why? It just seems like a really, really bizarre thing to do. It's actually quite confusing. So the Vega 64, which actually, if you look online, is actually now selling for pretty good prices. So you can pick up a Vega 64, which in a lot of games and benchmarks equals to the GTX 1080, but for a little bit less, or quite a lot less, and actually a damn sight less than the RTX 2080, which would be realistically the next direct comparison, or maybe the 1070 Ti. But the Vega 64, because it's kind of almost like an end-of-line product now, you're seeing some massive, massive discounts, which make it actually a really, really compelling buy at the moment. For me at the moment, the RX 580, the Vega 56, and the Vega 64 are the only real cards that actually make sense to purchase if you're buying in the new market, the brand new market. The 1070, okay, yeah, it's not a bad card and it is a pretty good contender. The 1080s are still pretty overpriced. The 2080s are a different ballpark altogether. But then we've got the RTX 2060, which again puts it in a really, really weird position, especially price and performance wise. Yes, you get the tensor cores and all that kind of stuff, the deep learning super sampling and all that kind of stuff, but do we really want it? Especially at 1080p, which is where the 2060 is aimed. It's a really confusing market. So going back to the Radeon 7, which I nearly called Vega 7 again, it's a really weird product. Retailing, they estimate, or their release price is $699, which again is effectively very similar to the RTX 2080. I'm not talking about the one directly from Nvidia, like the Founders Edition, but the aftermarket cards are definitely all in that price point. And there isn't a lot between them performance-wise. Now, if you go ahead and turn on the RTX, or the deep learning super sampling, like Nvidia have come out and said, it's going to crush them, and it will. So they've released a product, AMD, that people really can't get behind, which is almost the same as what happened with the Vega 64, which again is why they probably dropped the Vega name from the Radeon 7, because they want to try and get away from that Vega whole naming thing, because Vega essentially stands for essentially not great performance, but massive thermals and other issues which are associated with that. So I don't know, it's a really, really odd time. So AMD really haven't done anything good for themselves at CES 2019. So we've got what I consider to be a disappointing graphics card with no real massive benefits over the previous generation, apart from maybe the thermal slightly. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? What am I not seeing something here? Yes, it's nice to see technology moving on, but to move on at such an incremental pace, it seems pointless. They seem to be wanting to release something every year or every trade show or whatever it is, just that competition where they just release it because they have to. Just don't bother pleasing the investors, don't bother pleasing all the other people that have to go along with all that kind of stuff. Wait, design a product, make it good, make it at a good price, make it reliable, then send it out and people will be all over it. Anyway, that's my rant over with that. I am excited to see the Ryzen 3000 chiplets. That I think is going to be a big game changer, and when it matures, it's definitely going to be brilliant. But other than that, it's just it's not a great time at all. So that is actually, what else did you guys see? CES 2019. What did you see on the actual whole thing, which you looked at and thought, I definitely need one of those? Now there's some crazy stuff on there, like the kind of like real blue sky stuff, like the 8K TVs. Now I struggle to get anything in 4K in this house, even though we've got technology stuff everywhere. I would say almost everything in the house, apart from possibly one of the mobile phones and one of the screens, which is running at 1440p or 2K, everything in the house is 1080p or below. I guess some of you may be in the same position. Are you pretty much a 1080p household? Very, very, very strange. I don't know. I really don't know.
Hi to Charles, hi to Ability.
So who else we got? So hi to Charles, hi to Ability 10, Glenzer, Ninja, etc. Yeah, what do you guys think? What is happening? Yes, so Glenn thinks June for Navi apparently. That is possibly worth waiting for. But again, are we going to be in the same situation where AMD are releasing something almost for the sake of it because they have to, because it's that time of year? Charles says, how frequently or how often do you expect manufacturers to upgrade their product? That is that is an interesting thing, because we want to buy stuff. Deep down in the heart, we are consumers. That is what we do as a population. We've been kind of conditioned into doing it with things like adverts and social marketing, social media, YouTube, obviously. Basically, wherever you go, whatever you do, people are trying to convince you to buy stuff. Now, whether it's to buy fuel for your car, which makes your engine run cleaner, whether it's to buy milk, which it's been filtered and is lower fat, whether it's to anything, whatever it is, someone's always trying to make you buy something which is slightly better than the one before it. Which in some cases is good, but we, as well, as an English person in the UK, we're kind of almost quite reserved. So we don't tend to go out and buy brand new cars every year and trade them in. We generally tend to buy something, hang on to it, the whole kind of make do or mend and make do mentality. So we get something and we keep it chugging along. Again, whether it be a car, in the old days people would have a pair of tights in the back of their car in case the fan belt broke, and they put a pair of tights on to get temporary fix, that kind of thing. That's our kind of mentality. So the American mentality of kind of just buy this, buy that, we really struggle with over here. So unless there's a really, really compelling reason to actually buy these things, I think really we struggle. A lot of it tends to be one-upmanship, and especially in kind of younger areas, maybe schools, colleges, clubs, workplaces, that kind of thing. You definitely get that kind of mentality where, oh, he's got that, so I'm going to get the same, or I'm going to get one slightly better. Definitely happens with executives in the car park. somebody turns up in a new car, the next week someone else is going to have a newer car with a bigger and better engine. It's that weird thing. We are conditioned into doing it, and I think it's actually made it, we have as a people made it worse, because we want to buy these things. So the manufacturers have to make something for us to buy, regardless if they think is any good, but just because they literally have to fill a space on the shelf or in that mythical market in the sky, it has to happen. Now, there have been some things which have come out which have been improvements. PC cases. Now, that's one thing at CES actually, which there hasn't been that much coverage on. There's been a few, Deepcool have released a couple, Cooler Master have obviously released a couple because they seem to release like 5 or 6 new cases every couple of days. Oh, Glenn's saying their Fantech's new cooler is a beast. I actually didn't see that. I haven't paid a great deal of attention to a lot of the things that have come out of CES, if I'm completely honest. Not because I don't want to, just because I'm having real trouble sort of honing in on what is good and what is not. It's been a very kind of GPU, CPU, the real high-flying stuff. It's been centered around that a great deal. I guess that's what CES is traditionally for. It's for showing off the latest and greatest. I just wish they'd concentrate more on the kind of the mainstream, because that's where the money is essentially. The amount of people that actually go out and buy the really expensive stuff is such a small fragment or section of the user base. The majority of people, the ones that are the regular people who actually spend the bulk of the money, are the mainstream, the mid-range stuff. What was I going to say? Yahim says the upgradable laptop. Yeah, that is an interesting concept. The fact that you can swap out the GPU and CPU. My concern with that is a really expensive laptop, and yes, you can upgrade it potentially, but with Intel and to some extent AMD changing platforms, changing specifications, PCI Express 4 being with us kind of imminently, how upgradable is it going to be and for how long? At least when you buy a PC, an ATX form factor PC, if you make relatively good decisions as you're doing it, there's no reason why that can't last you a long time. Look at the FX range, for instance. The AM3 socket and the AM3 Plus lasted, what, 10 years now? Which is mental if you think about it for a computer, for anything to be kind of available to buy for that amount of time is pretty mental. Ability 10 says, can you react to this video? The secret strategy of OnePlus. Well, I haven't seen the video, so I can't really react to it, but I will definitely get Kath to make a note of it and we will have a look at that and maybe we will... I think the secret... Actually saying that, the secret strategy of OnePlus, I've got a feeling I have seen that. Is that an older video? I do believe I actually have seen that. I can't remember the exact credentials of it, but I'm pretty sure I do recall it now. Vaguely. Give me a minute, it may come back to me. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but Zolika? Hey Mike, don't buy a new phone because someone has the best and expensive phone. Buy a new phone, but a few years old. Like, I'm now looking to buy a Samsung Galaxy Note 8. That's my kind of thinking. I like the latest and greatest, but I don't want to pay for it, so stay slightly behind the curve. Well, for instance there, that is a Nokia 8, which was the flagship Nokia phone, 18 months, 2 years ago. When it came out, $399 or maybe $450. I picked it up for £50 with a broken screen. It's still a flagship phone. It's got a Snapdragon 845 CPU in there, so it's actually really snappy, but cost me next to nothing because I waited a little bit, saved myself best part of £300–400, which was awesome.
Talking of Snapdragon, Ability asks, will there be a Snapdragon 8554 gig version?
Ability is asked about, what was it, sorry, I pressed the wrong button. Snapdragon. Will there be a Snapdragon 855 4G version? Good question. I've got to be honest with you, when it comes to Snapdragon processors, especially the top end ones, I've completely lost touch with it, because to me it is kind of like, it's so far out there on my peripheral of me actually ever owning one or actually having the desire to go and buy one, that it's kind of like, do I care? Which is bad. I should care, but I don't. It doesn't. There's nothing in the new, slightly faster, slightly better chipsets that actually makes me think, oh yeah, that's really great. Which again is a reflection of what AMD and Nvidia are doing. It's exactly the same thing. Nothing seems to change. It's really sad. It is really sad. I do remember not too long ago, especially when I worked in the computer shop, that you'd have new stuff come in, and it was really great. Like, we had things moving at such a pace. We had the Pentium 4s in, Pentium 4 HTs, then we had AMD went 64, and it's like, wow, this is a really great time in computing. This must have been around about 2003, 2004. And then we had slight changes, but there doesn't ever seem to be that big kind of performance bump that we all kind of want to have. Like years ago, you'd go from like a Celeron 433, and then you'd go out and get a Duron, which had a little bit more cache on it, and was a really inexpensive CPU, and there would be a noticeable, tangible increase in performance. That feel-good factor in your PC. It's really, really difficult to get that now. So Ninja 47 ended up buying a i5, excuse me, an i5 2400 and a GTX 1050 for a cheap build. Do I think the 2400 is still capable of 1080p gaming in 2019? Yes, I think it probably is. Now, funny enough, I was on one of the my local Facebook gaming group, where people basically cobble together old stuff, put it in a new case and sell it on. And there was one on there which I think was actually the same CPU, an i5 2400. I think it was being paired with a GTX 1060 3 gig, maybe a 500 gig hard drive and SSD, but it was being pushed for, I think it was about £400, which when I saw it, I thought, well, hang on, that's a second generation i5. That seems like a lot of money. A lot of money. But, as it said in the title for the PC, very capable of 1080p gaming, which, yeah, it definitely was. And especially games which aren't CPU bound. CPU bound games such as Counter-Strike, I think possibly League of Legends, and a few other titles that are heavily CPU bound or have a profound effect on CPU. Maybe not such a great experience, but for pretty much every other game which is pretty much GPU loaded, even older stuff like that, even the 1156 socketed motherboards still can play 1080p games quite well, even 1440 under some circumstances. Again, it depends what you expect. If you want all the eye candy, all the anti-aliasing, all that kind of stuff, it's going to struggle regardless. Saying that, I've started playing Fallout 74. No, 76. 74 is when I was born. Close. Fallout 76 is, without doubt, a fantastic looking game. I've been playing it at 1440p on the highest settings with my GTX 1070. But even still with that, there is the occasional flutter where it kind of stutters a bit. Now, it's an online based game, so there is that to it. It could be where it's syncing with servers. That's a definite possibility. But it doesn't seem to me to be much better than the experience that I had with my GTX 780 and my FX 8350 when I was playing the game almost 2 years ago in the front room on my media center PC. Me and Kath would be cuddled up on the sofa. I'll be playing Fortnite and she'd be telling me what I need to pick up and what I'm supposed to be doing. Was that 2 years ago? Not Fortnite, sorry, Fallout. That's the one. Yeah, Fallout 76. But the Fallout 4 we were playing 2 years ago. But yeah, it was just as enjoyable then as it is now, but everything's been upgraded and I don't really see... I don't see why. It's very stagnant. That's what I'm getting across. I know I keep on harping on about it, but it is. The PC market is very stagnant, unless you're into ARGB or RGB.
That was 3 years ago.
Glenn's saying Ninja's saying thoughts on the 1050 for games like the Division 2 and other games that released this year. Now the 1050, the 2 gig, is going to start showing its age and is going to start struggling. Again, depending on what settings you got. If you're going for lower settings, if you turn off anti-aliasing, turn off motion blur, which most of us do anyway because motion blur is horrible, turn down all the settings, still at 1080p, still doable. The 1050 now, if you're buying new, is a bad idea. Get a second-hand GTX 970, maybe a 1070, 1060 if you can push it. Somebody actually local to me at the moment has been disassembling servers, like rendering servers, and there was 4 GTX 1070s EVGAs, 8 gig, for the Win editions with a nice LED on the side, and they were going for £200 each, which the GTX 1070 is a really powerful card, and for £200, like £50 dearer than a 1050 Ti brand new, it smokes it completely. And then says I'll be playing medium and high textures, maybe 1080p, maybe low anti-aliasing. Again, it depends what sort of frame rates you're after. If you're looking to get into 60 frames per second, then you may need to scrub the anti-aliasing and maybe reduce some of the textures, but yeah, there's no reason why it won't play it. Although saying that, some games now have a frame buffer limit of 4 gigs, so that is going to have a knock-on effect. And for people that are doing video editing, most video editing programs now require a 4 gig card. Obviously we're talking about games, so it's different, but yeah, that's pretty much where it is. Ability 10 says Apple's secret weapon is probably their powerful chips, because they don't use Qualcomm and they don't have to worry about other things. No, and that's actually, it's funny that Apple have released a pre-release. They've pre-released figures to their investors and the board and all that kind of stuff, saying that to be expecting a lower than stellar income from the last year, which Apple have kind of done their thing, and they have been very good. They do use good stuff. Their chips are phenomenal. Their design, etc., their build to some extent is great. But I know I harp on about it almost every stream, the amount of people that I get on a daily basis messaging me, Mike, I can't have any sound on my phone with my iPhone. What is going on? I can't achieve noise cancelling. The icon's grayed out, or I can't use this, I can't use that. iPhones are dying at such a high rate. It is terrifying.
And it's usually just from an upgrade.
And it generally seems to be just after an upgrade or during the upgrade cycle. So whether that's putting too much load on the CPU and it's doing some weird stuff to the motherboards, I don't know, but I would say for every 10 users that emails me to say they've had a problem with their iPhone, either the 7 or 7S's and the 8s to some extent, it's always been, or almost always, I'd say probably 6 out of 10 people have had problems during the upgrade cycle, iOS 11 to 12, that seems to be the biggest one. Whether it's just the chip hasn't got the bright thermal thing on. Actually, I'm thinking about this now as we're doing this live, so you can probably see the cogs spinning right now. Apple released in iOS 11 a method so that the chip didn't throttle as much if the battery got hot or the battery wasn't performing right. I wonder if the combination of the anti-throttling procedure to stop older phones slowing down and the high loads for the upgrade from 11 to 12 and the sort of incremental upgrades, whether or not the combination of those two is what is killing these phones.
Creates too much heat.
That is a very interesting thing. Maybe the fact that they're not being as aggressive on their cooling and throttling, maybe it is making it too hot inside that chipset and actually cools in the IC chip, which is well known to be using very inferior solder. Maybe that is the problem. It is actually heating up too much because of a previous update. That is an interesting thing. I'm going to investigate that. Very, very interesting. I never thought about it like that before, but that is quite a likely thing, isn't it? And I'd be interested to see if it's people that, yeah, because actually when you do the upgrades, normally you'd have your charger plugged in to charge the battery at the same time, which is again is going to generate heat, because there's a stopper on the iPhone so that if you've got, I think, less than 50% battery, or in some cases you just have to have it connected, maybe the combination of charging the battery, the lack of thermal throttling, and the extreme pressure of trying to do an in-place upgrade while the phone's kind of doing other stuff, maybe that is what is causing it. I may have to get another iPhone and test that theory out and see if I can destroy it. That'd be quite interesting to do. Buy a £300 iPhone and kill it on a live stream by doing an update. That would be great. Right, I think we've put CES 2019 firmly to bed now. I've been underwhelmed. Yeah, I don't know about you guys. Is there any updates on the chat? I can't, it's not, mine doesn't seem to be updating. Or maybe you never say anything. Maybe I said something interesting so people aren't saying stuff. And that is generally, that's a weird thing actually. When you're doing a live stream, you kind of rely on the feedback of the users that are watching it to let you know kind of the direction you're going. But if you're saying stuff which is actually genuinely interesting, the chat tends to stop or slow down. But then you don't know if you're actually, your stream's died or whatever. So it's a kind of a two-way thing. Yeah, I got a message, so the stream is still going. Seems people may have been interested. That's impressive. Ability 10 says, do you think that gaming phones are stupid, or is it just me? I don't think they're stupid, but I do think it highlights a big, potentially a problem with society in general. Now, we want to be entertained, right? That is probably why a lot of you are on YouTube. I don't know why you're watching this channel, but still, there you go. But the fact you want to be entertained, or you want to keep your brain occupied. A lot of people, gaming phones, I would say, are aimed at kids with too much money, commuters who do long journeys, and people with more money than sense, essentially. Did I say that twice? Anyway, yeah, if I did. So yeah, if you've got too much money or whatever, then yeah, fine, buy a gaming phone. It's probably got all the bells and whistles, and anything that is on the market which is new and fresh is likely to be in that phone. But realistically, do you need a gaming phone? Can you not be away from your console or your PC or your laptop for long enough that you can't possibly miss out on a game? Now, I do understand actually in some of the more, oddly, the developing nations where they don't necessarily have a laptop or PC, but they've got access to mobile phones, I get it. But then gaming phones traditionally are more expensive, which expensive phones don't normally sell as well in the developing markets. So it's like a kind of catch-22 with that situation. So,
But with a console, you're hogging telly.
Yeah, Kath saying, if you're playing games on a console at home, then you generally tend to be hogging the TV. So if you're in a family, the sort of traditional 2.4 kids, so you've got like mum, dad, 2 kids, whatever. If you've only got one TV in your main kind of living area, you don't want the kids to be tied up on the TV because you want to watch Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or whatever's on TV. That's the last time I watched TV, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Or maybe The Lottery. But anyway, so yeah, gaming phones, consoles, tablets, handhelds, they kind of do serve a purpose in that environment. But whether or not it's a niche environment, I don't know. But I wouldn't say they're stupid. And actually, from what I can tell, a lot of the phones which will play games of the higher range, actually playing things like Fortnite or PUBG, generally actually tends to be quite a good experience. Yaheem says, there are no games for a gaming phone, honestly. Yeah, the games seem to be kind of conversions from console games or PC games. Obviously, when you've got a phone, you've only got so many ways you can hold a phone. So the thumbstick method works. But again, playing games on a thumbstick method isn't always the greatest idea. Although saying that, if you do want to play games on your phone, Epic Handouts, which is a channel that I discuss things with, Epic Handouts actually did a controller that you can slip your phone into. So check out Justin's channel, Epic Handouts, and you can have a look at it. It's actually really handy. If you're into those kind of games and you like the thumb controls, it's a brilliant little device. Maybe I'll get Kath to try and put a link in the description for that. Glenn says the Asus ROG 2080 Ti Matrix. Nice to see some innovation. Yeah, I'm not sure, is that a sarcastic comment? It sounds like it. Anyone else in here just use their phone as a phone? Now, yeah, I probably, hands up, that's me. I use my phone pretty much as a phone. So phone calls, text messages, and I have the apps for controlling the kind of smart devices that I have dotted around the house. But essentially, let's see, actually, what else have I got? Yeah, things like Discord, stuff like that. So it's basically, it's a communication device. That is what it's mostly used for. I don't play games on it. I used to play things like 8-Ball Pool if I was bored, but that's more of a Facebook kind of, like a flash-based game. So yeah, it's not a game as a such. Well, I suppose it is a game. There's a very kind of huge thing of a gaming device. A game can be a game of chess or Hangman or anything like that. So, and it can be as high end as like PUBG and all that kind of stuff. So it's difficult to say. Yes, a very wide gamut of potential games that can be played. Ability 10 says the iPhones are the only devices that can run 60 FPS on Fortnite Mobile. That's interesting to know. I would have thought the Razer phone and things like that would have done it. Maybe not then. Ability 10 also says, have you heard of the ROG phone? Yes, I have. I think that's the one where you can actually buy a clip-on fan that goes on the back to keep it cool, if I'm right in thinking. And there's a few other add-ons that you could get for it. Kath's just put in the chat there, so you can check out Justin's, was it G'd mobile game control, iPhone joystick review, etc, etc. Which is actually, like I say, I'm not into playing games on the phone, but for anyone who is, that looks like the perfect device. Okay, so let's talk about CES and that stuff, some phone stuff. What have we done this week? So videos we've done this week, if you haven't seen already, we did the Wi-Fi IP camera from Apeman, which is, oh, that one there. Can you see that in there? No, it's just out of shot, isn't it? So it is on the shelf. I haven't sold it to the highest bidder yet. If you want to keep an eye on stuff, Apeman IP camera. A cool device which looks a little bit like a Teletubby. If you're not sure what Teletubbies are, search for it in Google. You'll kind of get the idea. But that was a great little camera. Really enjoyed doing a review on that. Actually, it was refreshing to have a IP-based camera or some IP camera type thing that wasn't basically set up in Japanese or Chinese or something like that. That was actually full English, and it worked straight away without messing around with regional settings, SD cards, all that stuff. Really good. Really like that. We had a look at the superhero lights, and I don't know if you've noticed, there is the Batman light adjacent to me over on my right, which is actually the last remaining of the superhero lights. So I did an unboxing on 3 lights. There was the Superman, the Stormtrooper, and Batman. Unfortunately, the Superman one was dead on arrival, and as soon as I plugged it in, it was crackling. Basically, it was just not good. It even made the monitor over in the background flicker and turn off. So there was definitely some weird electrical stuff going on with that. The Stormtrooper one was great. I actually had the Stormtrooper one here, where my Aurorus Z5 Classic is currently. And unfortunately, after leaving it on for about 2 hours, that one had a very faint flicker to it. So I thought, no, I'm not even going to chance it. Put it back in the box, send it back. But actually, they were pretty cool, and sent me a postage paid label, all that kind of stuff, and boxed up. And we're about to send it off. I haven't sent it off yet. It is actually in a box somewhere in this room. But yeah, it's over there. But those are really good. How much? For those of you that haven't watched the video already, how much do you think that Batman light cost? Let me know in the chat. I'm interested to know what you think that light actually cost, or what it's worth. That's probably what I'd be more interested to hear. What do you believe that Batman fluorescent tube, neon, whatever you want to call it, lamp is worth? What would you pay for it? I'll wait for the comments to come in. So what else we look at this week? So we did a 8-man camera, the groovy superhero lights, which are groovy, as you can see. The email signatures, am I the only one that gets really triggered by this? Now, you know in your email, you send an email from your phone, your Android, Apple, whatever it may be, and you send an email and someone sends it back to you or whatever, or you look at an email that you've sent, and at the bottom it says, sent by Android for Mail or Google Mail or whatever it may be. I hate that stuff. I genuinely do. I hate signatures at the bottom of email that are the default ones. In Windows 10, the mail application, sent from Windows 10 Mail. Really? Do you need to advertise the fact that the email is coming from a Windows 10 computer running Mail? No, you don't. Do you need to advertise the fact that you've sent it from Gmail, from Android? No, of course you don't. So, I did a video quickly showing how to remove the signature, which actually isn't that obvious. You'd think like, yeah, it's bound to be in the settings, but it's actually quite well hidden, especially for the Android version. So if you want to remove that from your email, and I suggest before you send me an email from the link in the bit at the bottom there, please remove it from your signature. I will be upset. I will get triggered. Just looking at the prices people are putting in here. So Yahim says $35. I will definitely sell you it for $35.
Is that US dollars?
Ability says $5. Glenn says $3.99. Someone's been doing their homework. Yeah, not $35, not even close. Originally, that would have retailed for about £10, which I guess is about $12, $13. Got it reduced down to effectively what was $3.99, so £3.99. So that's about $5. So Ability 10, you were pretty much smack on. Glenn, I think you probably watched the video or you've been on UK Hot Deals. And Yahim, if that's US dollars, you're way out. Although if it's Canadian dollars, you're probably a lot closer. Anyway, so that's to quickly answer that. Tips on how to start up a YouTube channel. Now, considering how small the channel is at the moment, although we are growing at a rapid rate, and if you check out mikesunboxing.com on Social Blade, you can see that we're doing well. We've got a B-, which if I was at school and I got a B-, yeah, I'd be pretty chuffed. So we're pretty happy with that. So I thought it might be a good idea. And actually, people do email me on quite a regular basis saying, what phone do you recommend? What camera do you recommend? What microphone should I use? How do I set up a YouTube channel? What are your recommendations? So I thought I'd do a quick kind of broad stroke, almost start to finish, on how to set up a YouTube channel, what to think about, what I would do differently, things I regretted doing, the way I use lights, the cameras I use, all that kind of stuff. But essentially what I was getting at was the fact that if you want to start a YouTube channel, just start it. Don't worry about what you have got and what you haven't got. Chances are you've got a mobile phone. I would say probably 90% of the population that watch YouTube or want to be on YouTube, I would almost guarantee they've got a mobile phone because, well, otherwise how else do you watch YouTube? Most people watch it on a phone. I would say 80% of viewers watch this channel on a mobile, which is why I have to kind of consider things like thumbnails, resolutions, what I show on the screen, how close I show it, all that kind of stuff, because otherwise you just can't see it. But anyway, so I did the video. I think it was quite well received. I'm not too sure. To me, it felt like almost like a bit of a behind the scenes video, even though it wasn't. Well, I don't know. Maybe some of you enjoyed it. Maybe some of you didn't. I don't know. Ability 10 says, oh, Glenn says, well worth it. Definitely adds to the set. Yeah, I do. I really like it. And it's such a great kind of iconic icon logo. But it's one of those things which Article 13 in Europe, which is going to be coming in with copyright and all that stuff, chances are, if that does happen, then that's going to have to go. The Stig's going to have to go. That's a Microsoft Keepy Cup, so that's going to have to go. That's owned by Nova Technologies. That's an AMD logo, and that's a Rio Toro logo. So realistically, pretty much everything in this room is going to have to go. The Microsoft Surface, I'll have to cover up the logo on the back so you can't see it. It's going to be like the BBC all over again, where you've basically got stuff which you know what it is, but you're not allowed to see it because it's brand placement or whatever. What a crock of shit. Now it comes on to another thing actually. Other people have been saying that you shouldn't be swearing on YouTube, which I agree. Sorry, what did you say?
The cup can say.
Oh yeah, the cup can say the Mike's Unboxing cup because that's my logo. I own that. Although I haven't copyrighted it, so maybe I don't own it. Maybe I should copyright it. It is on the t-shirt after all. I could claim that I have been using it, so if someone did copy it, I suppose I could have some cause for...
That would be cheap advertising.
Ability 10, yeah, you don't need fancy stuff for starting YouTube. No, you don't. My first video, which actually I still look back on pretty fondly, of the unboxing of the DeWalt wet and dry vacuum cleaner, which we still use to this day, which was a great buy. So if you're after a wet and dry vacuum cleaner, which is portable and mains, you can check it out in the link in the description, which Kath probably won't put in. She will now. She's like, bloody hell, why does he have to say that? I've got to look it up now and put it in the chat. But no, it's true. The first video we did, I think I filmed it on either Kath's iPhone or my Motorola G4, yeah, G4 4th Gen, which actually had a shockingly good camera for the time. It worked out really well. 80s Horror Fan is in the house. Good evening, 80s Horror Fan. Hope all is well with you. Glenn saying he's not seen it yet, but have thought about a channel. Well, Glenn, stop thinking about it. Get your phone out. Get a tripod. If you ain't got a tripod, get some books. Prop it up. Watch my video first of all to see the mistakes I made and the mistakes that you potentially could make, and check it out. You should. I think everyone should do it. I think for me, although the YouTube thing is a thing where I talk about stuff I have a passion for and I really enjoy, although at the moment having a passion for stuff which is stale and reoccurring seems a bit odd. It's like having a passion for a stale loaf of bread. But hey, I like bread, so maybe that's okay.
We are going to do a series now.
Yeah. Kath just reminded me to mention we are actually going to be doing a whole series of the YouTube videos, the behind the scenes, how it works, how we do it, lessons we've learned, lessons we've failed at miserably. Things that you do find with making a YouTube video, especially if you're like smaller scale, if it's maybe just yourself or maybe you and a partner or whatever it may be, it is difficult. It really is difficult. When you see people kind of in the upper regions, like your Linuses and your J's 2 cents and stuff, they've got staff, they've got sponsorship, they've got premises, all that kind of stuff. So it's really easy for them to just walk in the morning, get a script off their script writer, go into the studio, which has been preset by one of their staff, stand in front of the cameraman, which has already been paid for. You get what I mean. Don't get me wrong, it's not easy being in front of a camera. It's one of those things that some people are comfortable with, some people aren't, which is why you get all those videos where you just like see people's hands unboxing or text across the screen or whatever it may be, or just a voiceover. Doesn't mean the channel's not any good, it just, some people prefer to do it that way, and for a lot of people it works. But it isn't very easy. YouTube is hard, and don't let anyone else tell you any different. It's enjoyable, but it's a real pain in the ass at the same time. It's one of those kind of love-hate things, especially like for me on these live streams. I get really, really ratty and pissed off about half an hour to an hour before I'm going to go live, because there is like a pressure on you. It's like a newsreader or whatever. If you're doing something live, you can't be there and just go, you just can't do it. You've got to fill that space. So if you're like me with just one person on camera, I'm desperately trying to persuade Kath to get on camera. She won't do it. It's really frustrating. But it's really nice if there's more than one of you, like in Linus when he does his videos, and with Jay's 2 cents, although Jay's just Jay, he's also got his cameraman who kind of chirps in and does funny stuff to break it up. So there's a little bit of kind of banter going on there. But if you're just on your own as a single person, genuinely it is actually really difficult, especially like now my throat's getting dry because I've been talking for nearly an hour. So it's like I really need to take a drink, but I'm kind of conscious in the back of my mind that I can't take a drink because if I stop for a second, there's that dead space. Much like on radio when the radio host says, okay, and here is such and such from Exeter, and what do you think? And you get that radio silence where nothing's happening and everyone's like pregnant pause waiting for it to come on. And then the presenter's like, Yes, you're live on the radio. And still nothing. And it's just like a horrible, horrible thing. So you have to kind of learn how to deal with it. So I'm going to slurp some of my tea regardless.
We're 10 days off our anniversary. Of that video.
So Kath has put in the description, or in the chat there rather, the link for the DeWalt DCV582 18 volt, 20 volt, 14 volt, 320 watt wet and dry vacuum unboxing. First look at our first ever video, which actually I like I said, I look back on it with very fond memories. Now the way I remember it, and if I had to actually watch it again live in front of me now, would probably be two things. But I do look back at it and think, actually I did cover a lot of the elements relatively well. The sound was okay, the video itself was okay, it was functional, there wasn't any close-ups or any kind of b-roll or any fancy stuff like that, but I did all the basics and I told it what I did, and it was a really good video, and I think actually if anything it's probably gone downhill since then, but it was alright. It was alright. I would love to have a big studio and all that stuff and have this all set up all the time, so I just sit down, plonk myself in front of the camera and go boom, there we go, rolling. But it is really difficult. So again, if you are thinking of setting up a channel, do it, because it is a lot of fun. You have a lot of laughs, you have a lot of tears, and you have a lot of late nights and a lot of early mornings and all that kind of stuff. But basically, it is you. It's your life. It's your personality on camera. Now again, that is something else that you have to be really kind of almost mentally aware of, because you think to yourself, when you watch YouTube videos and people get slated and they're getting all these thumbs downs and all that stuff, or in the comments someone's being like really spiteful or whatever, you have to imagine how you would feel on the receiving end of that, despite the fact that the person may be on like thousands and thousands of miles away on the other side of the world, but that comment still stings you as much as it would if it came from a family member or something, especially when you've put a lot of work into it. Like I've done a couple of videos where I did put some genuinely hard work into it, and either it didn't get very many views, or it got disliked straight away, or someone put... The third-party comments are the ones that get me. Now, normally in society, if you're talking to someone like I'm talking to you now, and you were chatting to me in the chat, so if you wanted to say something to me directly, you would say, "Hey Mike," or "Mike's got such and such," but they don't. They refer to you in the third person, like, "Huh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about." It's like, you're commenting on my video as a new comment with no one, you're not answering anybody else, you're just making a statement. This guy doesn't know what he's on about. Why not just put, "Mike, I don't think you know what you're talking about." I'm fine with that, but the fact they put you in a third person as if their comment is intended for other people, I guess it kind of is, because that's the way YouTube works. It's kind of like a global community thing. But those sort of comments really do kind of trigger me. I don't know why. Kath gets triggered by it as well, and I think her getting triggered by it triggers me, and we're just triggered, and the cats are all like, it's not great. Anyway, moving on. I think I've lost. So 80s Horror Fan, did I see Linus's office tour? Yes, I have seen a couple of them actually, from when they moved in, and also the more recent ones when they did the work, and then they've done another one quite recently again with the new add-on studio. All right, thank you. So yeah, I am deeply envious of Linus's studio. I think his setup and the whole way he's going, I would love to be able to do. We're a completely different thing, and he's kind of like 8-10 years in front of me, so you never know. Although someone did actually comment on one of the videos these days, this guy, I didn't get triggered by this one because it was a nice comment, this guy is the new effing Linus. And I thought, yay, that's pretty cool, I can live with that. That did actually make me smile. Whether or not he's a complete lunatic, I don't know, maybe that's for you to decide, but I thought it was pretty cool. Yahim, have you ever wondered what the best thing was before sliced bread? I hope you're a dad, because that is definitely a dad joke. Baguettes probably were. Ability 10, sound quality is more important than video quality. Do you know what? That is totally right. I've worked in TV, and you do totally get that, because when you're recording a TV program, you can't have noises in it. All you can have is dialogue. So when you hear someone walking down a corridor, when you hear someone closing a door, when you hear someone's phone beep, when you hear a computer bleep, any noises at all, street noise, road noise, whatever it may be, all of that, and I mean all of it, pretty much is added in post-production by the sound guy or Foley editor. So normally when they're doing like a corridor scene, if they're walking down a corridor, they'll make the actor wear slippers or walk on carpet just in case it makes too much noise. So they want to capture basically just the audio dialogue as crisply and as clearly as they can, and then add in all the other stuff after, like wind noise, road noise, people walking, phones ringing, all that kind of stuff. So at the time when I kind of worked in that environment, a lot of the other departments would be like, really? Come on, you don't need to do it again, you've got it, it's fine. But audio is actually a massive, massive thing in anything in audio, be it a crackle, a hiss, a pop, background noise. I don't know if you can pick up at the moment, there's a kettle boiling in the background. Hopefully you can't pick up on it, but just little things like that, which aren't meant to be there or are distracting, really do take away from the audio. So that is why there is such a thing about audio. There's something really weird that the visual thing makes up a large percentage of it, but without the audio to go with it, it just doesn't work at all. Ability 10 says, have you heard about the channel called Dan Locke? No? Maybe you could tell me more about it. I do not know. No, Dan Locke. Doesn't ring any bells, I'm afraid. No. I'm trying to think now, should it be something I know? Alright. I bet he's got to shut down his PC, he's got to be on his phone, he's probably got to go to bed, because it's late where he is. So, anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I went off tracking. The other video I did this week was the data arrays video. Now, some of you who watch the channel may know of somebody called Brytech09, who's a kind of regular contributor to the channel and the chat and what have you. And he has got a really high ranking channel in the UK, Brytech09. And he's been basically doing PC repair videos and kind of unboxings and all that kind of stuff for the last 10 years or so. So he knows his onions, he's been doing it a while. And we were chatting and saying about, he did a video that I was going to cover, and then I did a video which he'd covered probably a couple of weeks ago, and we had this whole thing, and he said, well, just get on and do it. It's a very, very big pond with a lot of fish in it, and there's like billions of viewers out there, so even if I did a video which was a direct copy of his, it's not a big deal because we've all got our own takes on how things work. So I kind of thought, well, yeah. So he did his how to wipe a USB flash drive using CCleaner, the built-in drive wiper tool, which not actually many people know about, because if you've got CCleaner, generally you just use it to clear up trash files and that's it, you're done. Very rarely do people wipe their flash drives. If somebody comes into you in your workplace or you're at home and your kids come in or whatever, and they're like, Dad, can I borrow your flash drive? You immediately just unplug it, hand it over and do whatever with it. And same thing in an office environment. Generally, you're working on a relatively sensitive document. You just, oh, hang on, I'll just save it. Someone says, can I just quickly borrow your flash drive? Yeah, you just unplug it, there you go. And they come back in 5 minutes with your flash drive, you plug it back in and you're all good. But you don't know what they've done to that flash drive. They could have run it through a program to claim any deleted files. They could know more about you than you do. So it's one of those things that people don't think of. So I did a video, a little bit tongue-in-cheek, based on the information that I got about from wiping USB drives, and I did a little bit of a funny comedic take on it, although it was funny at the beginning, but it was more serious towards the end, because actually data protection is a pretty serious thing. And if you haven't seen it already, you should check it out because it's actually quite a fun video. I did have a bit of fun with it. I actually did enjoy making it, which you can probably see from the video. But anyway, definitely you should go and see that, or at least check it out. 80s Horror Fan 88. What are your views on how PewDiePie got so big? That's a really difficult one for me because if I'm completely 100% honest, I probably have only seen maybe 5, 6 videos of PewDiePie's. So I don't really know what he's entirely all about. I don't really know. I think he used to do games and stuff to start with. I think that is where he probably got a lot of his initial kind of fan base or whatever. And then with his gaming, he then started doing sort of streams and talking over them. And I think he got a lot of notoriety from the things he would say within the streams, which were either political or whatever, or maybe a little bit to the extreme. So I don't really know how he got so big, but I do know that he worked closely with Google and YouTube to kind of create that kind of branding. And then when he went slightly off topic and started getting himself into trouble, I think that actually probably got him more viewers by Google trying to censor him or demonetizing his channel or killing off his channel. So I think he's become a kind of a star within his own kind of ecosystem. And for people that are into him, it's great. But I don't even seem to get his stuff on my feeds anymore. I don't know whether I actually did at any point. So whether or not his videos are tailored towards a specific market, and I'm not part of that market, so I don't, Kath just said she doesn't get them either. We're obviously similar age groups, similar demographics and what have you, so I've never actually had any of his videos come up on my feed. Yeah, I think he probably was... Sorry, just reading that. Funfire says, hey, at least Mike now has one more sub. Everyone helps.
That's ability 10.
2's good, 1's great.
That's ability 10.
Ability 10 was it? Oh, thank you, mate.
That's my favourite account.
Oh yeah, because, yeah, fun me, yeah, sorry. Confused? Anyway, yeah, so all those channels, there's a lot of channels which do get massive really, really quickly. And I don't know whether that's a good thing or not, because if you, well actually, obviously it's a good thing because you're getting viewers and you're getting hit rates and you're getting monetization and all that kind of stuff. But if you grow that fast, it's an awful lot to live up to, because you've got a lot of people relying on you specifically to keep on making that content and really doing it. So I would say that you probably enjoy it at the beginning, but you get to a point where I'm not sure how many subscribers PewDiePie's got and how regularly he uploads, but I'd imagine there must be a massive pressure on him, which is possibly why he does the kind of those things that have got him into trouble before, like saying something inappropriate, because he's kind of like almost like trying to slow the whole thing down, maybe causing controversy to try and take him off that top spot, because that must be a massive thing to live up to. It really must be, because pretty much everyone I guess would know the name PewDiePie. And yeah, it must be actually quite a burden in some respects. When you're lower down the rankings, it's easy because if I make a mistake, who's going to see it? It's not going to be plastered all around the news. It's not going to be on the headline of MSN or ABC or whatever. I'm not going to have my face plastered around newspapers everywhere. So I'm in a relatively cool position where I'm doing something I enjoy. I'm having interaction with the people I do the videos for on a pretty personal basis. It's all pretty cool. And if I do something stupid, who's to know?
If you do get big, that car accident will come out.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. If I do, yeah. Oh, in the last live stream, I think it was, I discussed an accident I had in my car. So if I do become bigger at some point, then it's very likely then you'll see pictures or dramatizations of that. This is how Mike started off his early career. Damn. Oh dear. What else we got there? So 80s Horror Fan, tell me to F off. Okay, F off. if I'm being rude, oh, I should have read the rest of that really, shouldn't I? But do you make a modest amount with the quantity of subs you guys have? Now that is the thing, right? Subs mean nothing on YouTube. Straight away, subs mean absolutely nothing. Just because you've got 100, 1,000, 10,000, whatever subs, it doesn't actually mean anything.
It unlocks a few doors.
Yeah, it does. It opens a few doors, and it's impressive to companies. And if someone's looking to sort of sponsor you for something, if you don't have many viewers, or sorry, if you don't have many subscribers, you're a much less attractive thing, and it does certainly hold you back. But the key thing is watch time and views. And then, well, views is the top one, watch time is the next one, and then the next one is the kind of, there's a word for it, the repeat views, or it's not interaction, there's a word for it. It's basically if you can hold on to your viewers. So if you're a channel who's got some good videos or some long videos, and people generally stick with those videos for a long amount of time, you will get pushed up the algorithm, and Google will serve more adverts via YouTube, so you make more money through that revenue, if that makes sense. So having a lot of subscribers doesn't necessarily relate to getting a lot of views. There's some people I know who've got 30,000 subscribers, but they're struggling to get 100 views on their videos. But they've had maybe one or two really good videos, which millions of people have watched, and they've generated a massive amount of income from, but the other videos are suffering. So it's a really difficult thing to do. Don't equate subscribers to income. There's no correlation whatsoever. I would say, yeah.
1,000 views is $2.
Yeah, basically 1,000 views works out to be about $2, give or take. Now that is massively dependent on your content, the type of advertising, the length of the adverts,
How much YouTube promote you.
even your channel sort of category. So say for instance you're in maybe the gaming category, because gaming is super popular and advertisers want to throw money into it. So an advert on a gaming channel will get more income than say arts and crafts or technology maybe, or hobbies or whatever it may be. There's a load of categories you can choose from, and you kind of have to work out which one you fit in best with, which never really seems to fit any of them, but I'm not going to go into that too much. So yeah, I would say modest amount is a difficult thing. We get on average probably about 10,000 views a day. I think, is that right? About 10,000 views a day. So if 1,000 views is £2, or $2 rather, well, you can do the math for yourselves. Modest income is probably not the right word. It is money coming in, but it's not kind of life-changing, or it's not a thing where you're going to just throw your job away the next day. No, honestly, seriously, you need to be hitting some serious numbers on a regular basis. But being on YouTube isn't just about YouTube income, because where you get income from your other revenue streams, and that's something else we're going to go into another one of our YouTube how-to videos, is where to increase your income through affiliate marketing and stuff like that. So for instance, for us, we've got affiliate marketing with various companies, GearBest, Amazon, lots of different Amazon places. Also, sorry? Yeah, the T-mail, the t-shirt people. So whenever anyone buys one of these t-shirts, we get a kickback off of it. There's lots of different avenues you can go into, which actually you'll probably make more money on them than what you will actually from the YouTube AdSense. So if you add it all together, it can be pretty cool, especially say for instance, like if someone goes onto Amazon and buys a camera, an expensive camera, they don't pay any extra for it. Literally, Amazon will, for you providing that customer, Amazon will reward you for it. So if you sell a few expensive cameras, that totally can like grow and grow and grow. So you can get a really, really great income from that. So again, it depends what it is you're doing, what you're promoting. I generally try to promote stuff that I'm actually using. So I'm not likely to be promoting a $2,000 camera and then someone may be going and buying it and me earning some income from that. So I'm not getting massive income, but there's always potential for it. So hopefully that answers your question. Obviously, I'm not going to go into like, here's my bank statement, but you can kind of guess.
Because of the time of year where
Yeah.
more views than before Christmas, but less money than before Christmas, it doesn't go on views.
Yeah, Kath's made a valid point there. Depending again on the time of year as well, because the way the AdSense in particular pays for the adverts in bulk and what have you. So you could have less views in the summer and get more income than you would in the winter because of how thinly spread out it is. And also vice versa, if you're in a kind of a relatively niche market, somebody could be paying a lot of money to promote or put ads into your videos. So there's no definitive answer, but they say as an approximation through all the different levels of business on AdSense and stuff like that, approximately you're in the region of about $2 for 1,000 views. So, yes, hopefully that answers your question somewhat. But I say again, AdSense is great, but if you're thinking of doing a YouTube channel and you want to make it like a full-time income, you need to work out different revenue streams. Because as well, YouTube as a platform, especially with Article 13, could disappear end of this, April, whenever it could be. So that revenue stream could be completely cut off. So you have to kind of think about other options as well when you're doing it.
I also think a valid point to read comments.
Sorry?
James said you need 1,000 subs.
Oh right, yeah. James says, yes, that's right. You need 1,000 subs and 10,000 watching in that year to monetize your videos.
I'm not sure about the 10,000.
And from what I can gather and from what I've been hearing, that figure is likely to go up. Because in India, I think it is primarily, that's a massive market, and there's basically anyone over there who's got a smartphone is trying to get on the bandwagon. So there's a lot of kind of lower quality videos, and because YouTube wants to promote high quality, high content and repeated views and all that sort of stuff, if you see a bad video, you're not going to want to watch it again. And I think they're trying to get to the point where they want to change the goalposts a little bit so that to try and deter people who want to make a fast buck. So the people that are actually making money on the platform are the ones that are consistently delivering good quality content. So hopefully that'll be pretty good for everybody involved. Because I hate it where you see a video and it's like 3 minutes of complete garbage and you can't understand any of it. It's shot in the pitch black. You can't see anything. It's just not a great thing. And obviously, advertisers don't want to put adverts on that kind of content because it's pointless. So the advertisers are kind of saying to Google and to YouTube, saying, look, we want to keep on advertising, we want to keep on doing this because it's a good thing, but you need to sort out what is actually on your platform because some of this is making us look bad and you're affiliating us with the wrong type of channels, brands, etc., etc. I'm going to get into too much of it because it's a pretty heavy conversation. So, but if you want any more details, obviously join me in a chat on Discord or send me an email to mike@mikesunboxing.com. So, Funfire says 80 million. Who's got 80 million? PewDiePie's got 80 million subscribers.
Yeah.
Is that right? 80 million. Holy actual balls. I thought Linus was doing good with nearly 10 million. Jeez, that's 80 million subscribers. Mind you, if you take in comparison, they reckon there's 2 billion people that use YouTube. So that's actually quite a lot of YouTube are subscribed to him. I wonder actually how many of those accounts he lost when they did their big purge recently. Because they got rid of a lot of dummy accounts and that, didn't they? So maybe I'd be interested to see how much he lost. So if he's got 80 million subs and he hasn't gotten a video with less, Yeah, in the past month, all his videos have had 10 million views. So, well, work it out for yourselves. 10 million views, divide that into $2 for every 1,000. So what's that? Is that like, is that 20,000? No. Is that $20,000 per video? On ads, on just AdSense alone? I'm going to need a calculator. So 10 million divide by 1,000. That's a pretty easy one. Times 2. That's not times 2. That's divide by 2. Even I could work that out. Well, I'm stupid. Yeah, so effectively every video that PewDiePie has released this month has earned him $20,000. Holy actual hell. Oh, he actually lost 200,000 subscribers in the purge. Jesus. See, if you're PewDiePie, I'm actually going to backtrack completely on what I just said there. If you're PewDiePie and you're kind of at the top of your game and you're like, oh my God, everybody's watching my videos, I've got to make a video. If you're getting 20 grand a video, say what you want, enjoy it, because that's an insane amount of money. That is an insane amount of money. Adam's joined us and he says they're talking about his fortune. No, Adam, just a quick recap. We're discussing earnings on YouTube, and the kind of ballpark approximation is for most channels, by and large, for every 1,000 views you get, that's $2. So we're working out with PewDiePie getting 10 million views per video. He earns about $20,000 a video. Now, how long are his videos? I don't watch his videos, so I don't know. Are they like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes?
No, it's getting on.
We're going to have to work out how much this is going to be per minute.
Get him on Social Blade.
Yeah, let's get him on Social Blade. He's got to be worth, what, 100 million? Damn.
He's got to be more than that, 'cause he's got his own clothes.
Right, Funfire brought up an interesting question, actually. Do you know, I think that's probably meant to be, do you know that, yeah, even the country your fans are from affects your income? Yes, yeah, because that is based on the algorithm as well. So depending the advertising company and depending where they actually sell their products to, depends on where the adverts appear. So in some countries, like back to developing countries like India, where people are trying to get heavily into the market because there's a massive potential there. So people will pay more money to get adverts on your video if your videos are getting hits in India. If, for instance, like in the UK market is seen by YouTube as being pretty insignificant. So we don't really get a lot of the share of the pie regard with advertising and stuff. We do get loads of adverts, but it generally seems to be these kind of almost generic ones like, do you know what $180 million looks like? Or the usual kind of, hi, I'm Carly Class and I'm going to make a website on Wix. Well, first of all, you're not going to make a website on Wix because obviously someone's done it for you and you're just doing a animation on a screen. It might even be a green screen for all I know. But anyway, I'm going off topic again there. But I hate those Wix adverts. Damn it, I hate it. I hate Wix. But if you see a Wix advert on my channel, feel free to click on it and sign up for your free Wix account, or even better, get a monthly subscription and it will help. I am such a slut.
He gets 77.4k to 1.2 million a month, and ours on there is usually on the upper grade.
Right, okay, so Kath just looked it up on Social Blade. PewDiePie gets between, was it 750k to what?
77.4k.
Yeah, so $750,000 to $1.2 million a month.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
But that's just working. He's not even the highest subscriber.
No, he's not, is he?
He's third subscriber count. Video view rank 8th. And Social Blade rank 26th.
Wow.
It's higher than that.
So, yeah, PewDiePie is, sorry, that was a bit of radio silence there. Kath doesn't talk very loud. She doesn't want to be on camera. I think she should be on camera. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I'm quite happy to go out and spend money from my own pocket, like all those real good YouTubers do when they're buying their IT equipment. Yeah, right. I would quite happily put my money in my pocket. Actually, how much have I got in my pocket? Oh, I've lost my bloody mic now. How much have you got in your pockets, everybody? Let's see, use the high rollers out there. I've currently got, that's a £2 coin, £1 coin, £1 coin. Oh, I thought that was another one then. So, I've got £4. You can't see that because that's by the lower thirds, isn't it? 50, 70, 90. Oh, 50. Yes, I got £5. £5 and 8 pence of hard-earned money right there.
Give you 8 pence.
£5.8, beat that. For those of you that aren't wearing trousers, please cover up. £5 and 3 pence. Sorry, radio silence, do apologise. Okay, so yeah, get Kath to get on this stream. I will go out of my way and I'll buy no expenses spared microphone splitter and another boya mic for Kath to sit here and talk to you.
And you have to pay for me to have my hair done every month.
Yeah. And if you, yeah, and click on the advert so I can pay for Kath to have her hair done every month. PewDiePie doesn't get monetized. And YouTube hates him. Fair enough. Hey, Glenn's rocking it. According to Social Blade, I take that with a pinch of salt. No, I like Social Blade because they rank our channel as being pretty good. Ah, I get it, yeah, so...
So Adam, it's his fault for bringing it up last week.
Yeah, Adam, it's your fault, you brought it up. That is a lot though, isn't it? So Glenn's rolling in it at the moment with his £44.60 in his pocket. That is impressive. So actually that, while some of you are here, the loyal few, literally, what did you think about how to start a YouTube video? Do you think it was interesting? Is there stuff in there which you would have taken on board if you were starting a channel? Is there things that you would suggest that would have been better to have seen in it? Because it's definitely something I want to do, to carry on doing it as part of a series, because actually it's quite cathartic to actually go through it in my own head to work out what I'm doing as well. Funfire's got minus $20. That's not good. Or is that $20? Oh, bless him. H's Horrorfan 88, are you aiming to make this full-time as in your sole job? It would be really nice actually, because it would be nice to have it as a sole job rather than a soul-destroying job that I have currently. No offence to anybody who knows me and knows where I work. Drop myself in it once more.
Not that you've been.
Yeah, I would, doing YouTube full-time, it's a really scary thing to do, because unless you get to the levels like the Linuses, the PewDiePies, the what was the channel with James something? There was a guy with two names, something, and he used to have like a backdrop, like a corner of the room like that, with like cartoon stuff, and he used to just take the piss out of videos. What was his name? It's like, his channel was called 3C or 3We or 3X or something. Someone's gonna have to let me know in the comments because I really don't know. But he was brilliant and I actually miss him. And he only started that channel because he wanted to be an actor and he couldn't get a job as an actor. So he developed this character who was a commentator on videos, and he was everywhere. From the early days of YouTube and before YouTube was kind of YouTube, he was on it. Oh, what was his name?
Who are you talking about, sorry?
George used to watch his videos all the time, didn't he? And I did as well.
Marsco.
No, is it James something something? I can't think. The channel is We3 or 3X or... Ask George, you'll know who it is. The guy who used to have this, the wallpaper in the background. Anyway, if anyone else lets me know in the comments, let me know. Please put me out my misery because this is really effing with my mind now. James, Justin, no. Oh, that's really confusing. But basically, he's quite a short guy, spiky hair, and he used to do stuff to a camera, literally like full on stuff like this, and a few little comedy skits, and he used to talk about videos, and it was classic. It was very short, very snappy, but very entertaining. And it's basically just highlighting dumb people on YouTube. And he did it because he wanted to be an actor, couldn't get a job, so he developed the character, started doing the videos, and the videos kind of got out of control. And he did it for about 5 years, I think, until he got to the end and he said, look, enough's enough. The channel's massive, and it still is massive now, even though he doesn't actively do it. Ray William Johnson. That's it, Ray William Johnson. I was close. If you want to have some fun and look back at some older YouTube stuff, Ray William Johnson's channel is brilliant. And I don't think there's anybody who actually has taken over that mantle of doing what he did. And at the time it was really, really original. And people, no one's done it. But yeah, his stuff, he would be one of the people I would say actually was one of those that made me want to make YouTube videos because of how much enjoyment I got out of his videos. And I thought, yeah, that's a really good thing to do. It's a cool thing to do. But then I find out after that he hated doing most of it, and towards the end he just didn't want to do it at all, which is why he quit, because he just wanted to be taken as a serious actor, which he couldn't. So anyway, that is totally enough of that. Yeah, that's it. Every time you get a super chat, Kath has to come on and say thanks. Well, that's quite easy. You could do that, couldn't you? Oh, come on. Come on, tell her. Put in the comments, tell Kath she's got to come on the camera and say hello and stuff. I said to her on the way home tonight, we were driving back from George, and from picking up George, and I said to her, so are you getting changed tonight, or are you just wearing what you got on? And she looked at me like, for the live stream? She said, no. She goes, no. Doing the hand thing and
Doing
the, I can't even do it. No way, sister, kind of thing. Just, no, not interested.
I'll do it. Just print me out a mask.
Oh, Kath says she'll do it if I print her out a mask. So I'm just looking, there's a massive delay on this video, I can tell. Lots and lots of delay. Actually, I can see where my finger is on the video now. Is it down there? Where's the live button? Is it just there? If I've worked it out right from when I did my calculations in Photoshop, it should be, oh, just, oh, there. So there. So if I push, yeah, that's it.
Where do you want to push
That works. I don't know, I don't want to push it. Anyway, moving on. Right, okay, so that is an hour and 35 minutes. Kath face reveal. I don't think she will, even if I press the other button. No. Nope, she's hidden. See that? I've got my lower thirds turned into upper thirds on the other camera. See? Like that. That is going to be part of another tutorial I'm going to do of how to set up OBS for live streaming, things to use and how to set it up, and other little cool things like that. So if you want to learn how to do
everything you've learned.
Yeah, if you want to basically know what I know in my head, which is probably not a lot, I keep on looking around because I can see different things in that camera. I've got 1, 2, 3, I've got 4 kind of camera devices around me at the moment, and it is driving me a little bit insane. Anyway, and they're all at slightly different speeds. That one's faster than that one's real time,
This is slower again.
and Kath's phone's even slower again. And I've just had a notification from YouTube, apparently Mike's unboxing is now live. Not bad, 2 hours in, almost 2 hours in. So Ninja's just come out of the DeLorean and sparked up the conversation we were having an hour ago. I did buy the 1050U. but I feel I had no choice because of my dodgy PSU making weird noises, so I didn't want to plug in extra cables. Then that's fair enough. If you think something higher powered is going to cause you problems, why buy it? What are you planning to do with that PC, Ninja? Are you going to sell it on, try and flip it, make some money, or is it going to be used somewhere for a second PC or a streaming PC or something like that? Well, I started talking like Brytek then. I'm going to try and do Brytek's accent in a minute, but I've got to build up to it. Stretch into it, you know.
Do a conversation of Brytek and Tony.
Oh, yeah. Welsh Tony, who's not actually on at the moment, I don't think. Is he in the chat? No, he's not. We were on Discord the other night. There was me, Welsh Tony, from Welsh Tony 1, and Brian from Brytek 09. Why have they got numbers after their names? Hey, I want a number after my name. What number shall I have?
5. Mike 5.
Mike 5. Where'd you get that from? Because it looks like an S. Good thing. That is quick. For calf, that is quick. Impressively so.
Blonde.
Happy days. 80s Horror Fan says, Aletta must be eating a wild boar in the woods. Their Jack Russells have killed. Yeah, I haven't seen Aletta. We've had guitar prog rock on. Tony is sleeping because he's working nights, and Brytek is playing PUBG. So yeah, we had it was Brian, me, and Welsh Tony. So there's me, Bristolian. There's Tony, Welsh, well, Scottish, but Welsh, and Brian, who is from kind of North London area. So we had like a Londoner, Welsh, and Bristolian, and the conversation. I'm amazed we actually managed to understand each other at all, because we were talking on the chat in like typing, which you can understand, but because Brian's getting on a bit now and he's not what he used to be, so he likes to use the microphone rather than typing because it saves his fingers, and he needs to keep his fingers for his videos. So I get myself into trouble now because I see it. But yeah, we went on to the voice chat, and actually, weirdly, we can actually understand each other. So I actually found Discord to be very good. Normally I only use it on text chat, but Discord voice chat is actually pretty good because you can carry on about your normal life, put your Discord on your phone on speaker, you can carry on, listen to it all. It's like the telephone all over again. I was really genuinely excited by that.
You were playing a game.
I was actually playing Fallout 76 whilst having a conversation with them, but it was brilliant. It was like, remember those days when you went from having a corded phone that you had to stand in your hallway to have a conversation, freezing your balls off because very rarely did anyone have a radiator in the front porch. Then you had a cordless phone. You could actually go and sit by the council house gas fire and warm up a piece of toast on a fork while you did it. How cool was that? That's technology right there. Toast on a fork in front of a flame.
You weren't allowed to use the phone.
No, I wasn't allowed to use the phone. Poor me. Ninja 47 is just going to have that PC for a few months until he gets something a bit better. As soon as the new Ryzen comes out, I may consider upgrading. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Or, when the new Ryzen comes out, buy the old Ryzen for not a lot of that. Maybe even the change in my pocket. Adam from the Blind Divide says, I'd pay good money to see the Jack Russells hunting a boar. That's pretty sick right there. There's been a lot of things actually. I've noticed that the new year with the fox hunting, and a load of protesters got really upset because a fox got killed by a dog. But it's like, that's kind of what happens, I think, in nature, isn't it? Isn't that a thing?
Horses and stuff.
So I know they're doing it for sport, but I think it's a thing. Foxes do get ripped to shreds by dogs.
And they probably rip other things to shreds.
Anyway, they were getting triggered by it. So that pretty much wraps up tonight's cacophony of conversation. Yes, that was a good word. I looked across at Kath there, and she was also very celebratory with me on the fact that I did a big word. So thank you all for joining us this evening. I hope you've not been too disappointed with CES 2019. I've been pretty upset. I'm going to go and have a drink now and maybe shed a tear or two. But thank you all for joining, and we will hopefully see you next Friday. next Friday, roughly the same time. Maybe a little bit later for our American friends, but we'll see what happens. But I will put notifications out, so as long as you're subscribed and you've clicked on the chime icon, which is probably somewhere around there that I'm just pointing at random things. Oh no, I haven't got one on, have I? I'm gonna have to add that to my OBS now. Damn it. Yeah, subscribe, click on the chime notification, and then when we are live next week, you'll get a notification, hopefully with it probably less than 2 hours to go, otherwise you'll never see it. So, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you again next week. See you later.